Welcome back. Call the roll, please.
Had to get to the right meeting.
That's right.
Berkland,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes,
Thank you. Need a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda.
so be it.
I'll second.
Any discussion of the agenda items? If not, call the roll, please.
Klein,
Yes,
Berkland,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Tonight on the consent agenda, we have minutes of the January 18 regular city council meeting, payments for contract services, which include Bolton and Mink runway relocation phase 3, $29,460.50. Bolton and Mink runway relocation phase 2, the amount of $22,497.30. Bolton and Mink runway relocation phase 1 in the amount of $2,523. Runway relocation land acquisition in the amount of $14,985.75. Bolton and Mink runway relocation in the amount of $21,709.89. Bolton and Mink municipal airport engineering in the amount of $8,118.50. Wastewater design, Bolton and Mink, $17,030. Bolton and Mink general municipal engineering, $8,240 for a grand total of $124,564.94. Tonight, we have claims, registers, and financials for the amount of $1,229,291.59. License and permits, it says none, but we actually have one that came in late. It is A&M Incorporated, doing business as JMC Supermarket, located at 605 First Street. And they want a renewal of a Class E liquor license with Class C beer permit, Class 2 wine permit, and Sunday sales privilege. Police and fire inspections have been completed in our on City Hall as per usual. That's all we have for consent agenda. Need a motion to approve those items, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
yes,
Thank you. Moving on to city administrative report.
All right, I'll keep it short and sweet tonight, but quick update on the solar project. We officially have our first 3 buildings being powered by solar. So the recycle building and then the north and south shops, Public Works. So they're officially on, I think as of yesterday, maybe, something like that. So exciting
That's
stuff.
great.
Still working on a couple of the others. On the sunny days, yes. I don't know about today, but any other questions?
What, can you just give us a little explanation of the money that it cost and the money that it's saving?
Sure. So with this project, the initial probably 6 to 8 years, we'll call it, we're on a power purchase agreement. So we're actually having no out-of-pocket cost to install the solar on the 11 meters that have been condensed to 10 meters, so 10 sites. So with that, instead of paying 12 cents a kilowatt hour to Alliant Energy for that power, we'll be paying Redline Renewables, the company that's putting it all in, about 9 cents a kilowatt hour. So we'll be saving the 3 cents a kilowatt hour initially. So hopefully about a quarter of some of those bills will come off. When it comes time to buy out the system, and I really am kind of in that year 6 to 8 timeframe, for about $1 million to $1.2 million to buy out the system. Once that's paid for, all of that electricity is ours. So that should be about $125,000 a year in savings from having all of those facilities on solar.
And the life expectancy is
20 to 30 years. And there will be some maintenance in there as well, but
And this might be off the point, but I'm just slightly curious. Is this just available to municipalities and cities and so on? Or are these same sorts of options available for residential customers?
there are very similar situations for residential customers as well, where a company will come in and install the solar. And basically, instead of paying your monthly electric bill, you're paying them to more or less finance the solar installation. So those are out there, and you're seeing a few more and more houses around town put solar on. So it's exciting to see that happening more often.
according to the internet, we are available for that. Some of them, there's several companies
Yeah.
that'll do that, but it's out of the pocket, no expense.
Well, I think the public, as they see more and more places, doing it, they'll start to have a little more confidence, and
Yeah.
if we can push the fact that it's working for us, and
Absolutely.
saving us money, again, it's something they can, sort of take to the bank and think, well, maybe this is something.
And I think it's a great showing for us of how visible some of these installations are with the canopies that we have. That, a lot of times they're just on the roof, like you can't really see the police and fire station ray very well. Although I do have a pretty decent view from my office. But with, City Hall and back behind the library, those are awesome ways to be able to show that this is something that's important to us as a community, not only from the environmental aspect, but once that's paid for, $125,000 a year can do a lot for us. So that's exciting.
So I have two questions. Excess energy, say we generate 100% on a really sunny day, but we only use 80% of it. What do we do with that? Is there where somebody will buy that from us? Is
Yep.
there savings in that respect?
So Alliant Energy is really great. Not all power companies treat it the same way, but they will actually let you net meter. So you'll see that meter actually spin backwards. Now they're all digital, so you don't quite get to see it spin backwards, but they will let you bank electricity during the day that you would use at night or on a cloudy day. And it used to be that you could bank that for as long as you wanted, but now you get to pick a date. So every April, our bank will reset. And then we lose what's in that bank. But that's why they're all designed to be right around that, 100% to 102 or 4%, depending on the site, just to make sure that we can bank enough on the sunny days to get us through the cloudy times or the evenings.
Second question, had some people ask me about the fencing that they put up down by the band shelter, and they're using that as a staging area. Is that
Yep.
about to come down, or?
I'm not sure. I haven't been by there in a little bit to see if there's anything left, but that'll all be down this spring.
Okay, and that's fine. I just had some questions.
Yep.
Asked me.
But all the panels are up.
Yep.
And all the equipment should be up. It's really just pulling wire at this point, so I doubt that'll be shut down much longer, but definitely an exciting project, and definitely one that I would say puts us more at the forefront in the state on doing something of that scale. So definitely very exciting.
Good move for Perry, I think, yes.
And with Alliant Energy's project at the Brownfield, we'll receive the renewable energy credits from that project. So with our on-site solar and that community hosted solar or customer hosted solar, we should, between the two, offset close to, if not all, of our electrical use from city facilities. So all of our electrical use will be offset with solar.
Good. Thanks for covering that. Anything else for Sven? If not, we'll move on to mayor council comments. I just want to, should have done it in our other meeting, but do it now. I just want to say thanks to Susie and Span and department heads and anybody else who was involved in putting our budget information together. I know it's always a big job and takes a lot of work. We're not quite done yet, but we're well on the way to completing it again for this cycle. So thank you for your hard work. As I like to say, I have trouble with my own checkbook balancing that. So I can only imagine what you must go through. Thank you. Council comments?
Some of you know, some of you do not know, this is my last council meeting. I'm resigning effective midnight tonight. My wife and I had looked at moving out of state and decided that we weren't going to be able to swing that. But next thing I know, we're actually moving out of town. And so this will be my last meeting as a council member. I have appreciated getting to know each and every one of you and getting to know some of the background of things that happen. And I'm going to miss this very much. I've asked that I know the tremendous checks that council members get. I'm not asking for any, I've just asked that any amount that would or would not be due me. I've asked that she know that that's a pleased one. I know it's not going to make a major difference, but maybe we can buy some more bullets so we can harvest more turkey vultures.
So you've been a nice, new, interesting face. to have.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for-
Yeah.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, you weren't with us long enough, but I do personally want to thank you for being willing to serve. And I know this opportunity came up for you, so but I do want to thank you, and I think you've been, in your short time here, you've been an asset to our council meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
And of course, we will be working on filling that position. Other council
Will
comments?
that be an appointed position then for the major term? Won't be an elected, will it?
Sven, you want to talk about that a little bit?
So I think at the next meeting, we'll probably have a resolution that really lays out the process, but we'll have a period of time that people can put in interest to be appointed. But if there are signatures in a petition, there could be a special election as well. But that would cost about, was it $6,000? $3,000 to $4,000. So there is a cost to that, but hopefully we can find a good person from the second ward to fill Mr. Height's position. But more on that, I think at the next meeting, we'll have a resolution that'll set some public hearings and publications and things like that.
So we'll be moving forward with that. Other council comments? If there are none, we'll move on to open forum. As always, speakers will be asked to step up to the microphone and state their name and address for the record. And individuals speaking will be given 3 minutes. And again, this is anybody either in the room or on Zoom can speak on any topic that's either on the agenda tonight or not on the agenda that they want to bring up. So now is your chance for open forum. Do we have anybody for open forum tonight?
Jack Butler, Public Works. Two things. One, we've had call outs here for sanitary sewer plugs. We're having folks using flushable wipes again, and they're flushing them down their toilets. And I know they say they're flushable, but they don't break down like toilet paper. And so 2 different occasions last week, we had sanitary sewers backed up in the basements, got the jetter up there, pulled out a big wad of flushable wipes. So please, 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 if you're using them, throw them in a bag and put them in a garbage can because they're not breaking down. The other thing was Billy wanted me to talk about on garbage. We got 2 issues going on. We've got folks that are filling their cans completely full. Lids are open and there's bags laying on top of the cans. As soon as that truck grabs that can, where's them bags go? They're on the ground. The other thing is people are throwing the loose paper, the little packing peanuts, them little pink or white packing peanuts. They're just loosely throwing them in their cans. And, you know, he's in the truck. He can't see that in the can. As soon as he dumps it, he watches a cloud of packing peanuts fly over the cab, and they're, flying out in people's yards, loose paper flying out. So that was another thing we asked folks to do. Please, bag your stuff up. It just keeps the town cleaner. He's picking that up, and they're all blowing right back in your yard, blowing in your neighbor's yard. So that was something else that he brought up to my attention. For some reason, we've become a very windy state the last couple of years, it seems like. The wind never seems to want to die down. And, that truck, like I said, he can't see that stuff. It's out of his eyesight. But as soon as he dumps it, the wind catches it and it just throws it all over yards. So just please try to respect, that. For the folks that are having so much garbage, it might be one of them things where they need to come down and we get them another can. There is a price for that. And for an extra pickup also of 2 cans, but that might be an option. I know we've got a few folks around town that have 2, 3 cans at their house. And then please don't throw that loose garbage in there because it is making a mess. And then the flushable wipes, another thing, please don't flush them because they're not breaking down and they're getting wadded up. So that's all.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would suggest to the rest of the public, if you've got a neighbor and you see he's got a great big pile, I have 2 or 3 in mine because there's no kids at home anymore. I'll grab his and throw them in mine. That helps out everybody. So be good neighbors to each other. That'll make a big difference.
Sure. Anybody else for open forum tonight? Hearing none, we'll move on to our public hearing. Public hearing on City of Perry's proposed maximum property tax dollars for fiscal year 2023. Per Iowa code, cities are required to hold the additional public hearing on the proposed maximum property tax dollars to certify for levy. The City of Perry has published and posted the notice of public hearing as required. The maximum property tax dollars for the effective tax levies for fiscal year 2023 shall not exceed $2,920 and $2,920,590. This represents an increase of 11.08% from the fiscal year 2022 levies of $2,629,082. The affected levies include general fund levies, the emergency levy, and the benefit fund levies. This does not include the debt services levy. Again, this is a public hearing, so this public hearing will open at 6:18.
Regarding the increase in the levy, the general fund levy always stays at $8.10 per thousand valuation. So that will increase our property taxes around $56,000, or it'll increase what we bring in the general fund on the 810 levy around $56,000. But that rate stays the same as the 810. That's just based on what the valuation is. What is going to increase is insurance, all types of insurance, our property and casualty. And we talked about this during budget time, but I'll go over it again. Property and casualty insurance, this is because of storms, natural disasters, that's going to increase around 10%. Our health insurance, that's going to increase around 8%, a little over 8%. Dental and life and 5%, but those aren't really huge expenditures for the city. The biggest one is our workers' compensation. We've had some big claims and our premium is going to increase around 255%. It's going to, we also, with that big increase, we are not going to get the credits like we used to, since our mod factor is over 1. What we did talk about though, in our budget meeting was using maybe some other sources to kind of alleviate this large increase in the levy rate. Right now with the post maximum property tax, and again, this doesn't include debt service, this is just general fund, emergency levy, and benefit fund, would be 16.79. We could get that down to 16.29 And that would, if we use some other funding sources, like we talked about, like maybe some transfers, working with our workers' compensation company, and using some, maybe some fund balance from another fund. And then that, instead of being an 11.08% increase, it could be like around a 7.8 or up to 8% increase. So legally, cities or anyone with a budget that's published, you can decrease your max levy or your certification. You can decrease it, you just can't go over it. So even though we've published that we're looking at an 11.08% increase, if we have a 7.8% increase, that's fine. We can always decrease it, we just can't increase it after we publish it.
I've got a question on that. I'm not quite following this. This isn't property tax. That's going to all the people in Paris.
Yes, it is.
It is. So you're wanting to raise our property tax by 11%.
Well, yes, without, like, when we talked about, let me get my budget information out. The total, see, this is why this is confusing, and I wish the state would change how they do it, because this is just general fund, emergency levy, and benefit fund. It doesn't include the debt service. So right now, our total levy rate is 17.97 per thousand valuation. What we were looking at, and what we talked about during the budget meeting, was an increase to 18.49 per thousand valuation. But we think that with some changes, we could get that down to 18.20, maybe even 18. So it wouldn't really be that much of an increase. But this doesn't, this 16.79 is included in that 18.50, but it doesn't include the debt service. The state doesn't include that on this form.
So actually, you're saying 17.97 was our.
That's
tax rate last
our
year.
actual, this
So-
current year's levy.
So if it goes up to 18 or 18.03, we're really only going up a few hundredths of a percent.
Well, yes, if we go
More than
up to,
normal.
yes. if-
Right, 25 cents per thousand.
On this,
Right.
on this
Okay.
form, it would be around 8% because it doesn't include debt service.
Okay.
But yeah, otherwise it would only be a small percent because the total would be like, say if we got it down to like, let's say we get it down to like 1801 or something like that. It would be like a 0.2% increase for the total, but this form just doesn't include debt service and it skews it so bad. I really
that-
wish the state would change it.
And that's
Because I know-
why all the time we put on this budget form and this isn't something we came up with. This is what the state requires us to publish. But we put on the notes in the bottom that this does not include debt service levy. So that it at least kind of tries to come across, but it's still very confusing. And honestly, I'm pretty sure Susie has to explain how the form works to me every year.
You see, our debt service, why this is such a different, our debt service levy has actually decreased from 2.23 to 1.7 per thousand.
Well, I just wanted the public to know that
Yeah.
we're not gonna jump it up 18% more.
It's not
No,
It's
no.
gonna be
Percent
a
more.
0.02 or 0.04.
This sets a,
That's
ma-
right.
this sets a maximum amount we could raise. It doesn't mean we will. Is that correct?
Yes,
That sets it a lot straighter.
So and it has to start so much earlier now that we do have more time on the back end, but sometimes we have to start with worst case scenario because we don't always have really down to the wire estimates on what some of those, especially insurances will be. Because, I mean, we're still waiting on another insurance quote that could come in half of what this is, but what is it they can't go past 90 days to quote or something, so we have to wait until March anyway to get a quote for July. So it's just a very cumbersome process, so it feels a little disingenuous that we have to publish such a high rate just so that we have a cushion in case that does happen, but I mean, this year we did know that workers' comp is going up quite a bit and things like that, so we definitely had to have a cushion at the beginning of the process, but I think every year you'll see a scary not to exceed number, but we'll come in well below that.
And actually, with debt service added in, if you imagine debt service added into this form, showing the total levy, even with debt service, or it would only be like about a 3% increase, and that we could get that down to like a 0.25%. So
That's more feasible, I think,
Yeah.
to everyone.
I wonder if an explanation would go out maybe to the town. Like last year, we said 18.4%, but in reality, it came in at this percent. Previous year, we came in on, so maybe if we explain that, maybe in an article or something to that effect, this is the maximum, but every year you can see we've been coming in below that. That might alleviate some people's anxiety. Yeah.
because right now, we used to just have, we used to set a public hearing and hold a public hearing. Now we have to set a public hearing for this max levy, which does not include debt service, and then hold it, which is tonight. And at the next meeting, we'll set the public hearing for the entire budget, which would be like our entire levy rate, which includes the debt service, and then hold a public hearing, which would be in 2 meetings from now. So the true picture is going to be the next one. This is just.
And it's, again, the form, I just don't think is a good representation of what they were trying to get at, but I also kind of get it because debt service can change because you can't do the pre-levy and all of that jazz to issue debt, things like that. So I understand why they did it, but for, for the purpose of truly what they're trying to get across, I just don't feel like it is a very good representation. So, and by all means, like, they could just put another line on the form that we're not held to or something like that, but it definitely does not show the whole picture. And I have brought this up with some of our legislators of, hey, like, this could be more transparent, and I think that's the intent, is an extra step of transparency, but it just kind of misses that mark. So that's why we do try and put in the notes at the bottom more information about what all is included in the total levy, and this does not reflect the total levy because, this week we're publishing something that says it's 16 something, and then the next one they see it's 1820 or 1795 or whatever it is. So it's not perfect, but we do our best to try to explain our way through it, maybe.
Yeah, we do have a really good spreadsheet that I don't know if I put out last year, first year especially, that I kind of take this and then add in the debt service. So it's like that, I think people could see and understand a little better. So
Susie fixes the state forms quite a bit.
Okay, any other discussion about this item for a public hearing? If not, this public hearing will close at 6:29 PM. Thank you. Moving on to old business. Resolution approving the maximum tax dollars from certain levies for the city of Perry's proposed fiscal year 2023 budget. After holding the public hearing, cities are required to pass a resolution to adopt the maximum property tax dollars. The city of Perry's proposed property tax dollars for the affected tax levies for fiscal year 2023 shall not exceed $920,590, which represents an increase of 11.08% from the maximum property tax dollars requested in fiscal year 2022. City is seeking to exceed the 2% threshold set by the state of Iowa must vote to approve the resolution with 2/3 majority vote. I need a motion, please.
I move to approve the resolution approving the maximum tax dollars for certain levies for the city of Perry's proposed fiscal year 2023 budget.
Discussion. This, of course, is what we've just discussed during our public hearing. Any further discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Height,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes,
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
thank you, Susie. That did help a lot.
Okay, resolution authorizing the creation of the American Legion Building Fund. As approved per resolution 011822C on January 18th, 2022, the city council accepted the donation of the American Legion Building located at 1324 First Street on behalf of the veterans and members of the American Legion Post number 0085. This resolution would create a special American Legion Building Fund into which collected revenues and donations related to the property will be deposited. Such deposited funds will be used for maintenance, upkeep, and renovation of the American Legion building, as well as any programming costs related to the use of the building. This resolution also affirms that all monies received for the purpose of said fund shall be credited to same, and that no money shall be expended from this fund except upon an appropriation of the council for the proper account. Need a motion, please?
I move that we pass the resolution authorizing the creation.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
We're creating a special revenue fund like we have for like this building or the town craft or the caboose or any number of like senior fellowship meals. That way we keep the money that we collect, like whether it be for donations or grants or what other kind of rents or anything like that for the building, and then turn around and use it for the building, for the expenditures for operating or any other kind of capital. That way, with the general fund, that you can use that money, you can use money you collect for the recreation and the police department, or, that's all commingled together. This keeps it totally separate and easier to keep track of and make sure that the money is used for the.
Is there? I know a couple of us hesitated. Came to accepting the donation. Is there an idea of where the revenues will be coming from? I mean, do we have a?
So I've been working with John Anderson and Becky a little bit on some thoughts on what to use the building for, and they've kind of come up with the concept of using it as a community building that could be rented out. We used to rent out rooms over at the City Hall building and then as well as this room. So we feel like there's kind of a need for that, a little bit bigger space, the kitchen, things like that. So John is working on a budget for what that kind of renovation might take, as well as some numbers on what they think revenues could be. So once we have numbers put together, we'll be bringing that back to council for consideration. And if that's something that we want to move forward with. We've also been talking with DMAC a little bit. They're looking at starting a summer building trades program. So it could be that the DMAC class could help do some of the renovations over there. So that would be a win-win for us to get some help, have an opportunity for those students to learn and get the building fixed up a little bit. But every time we've been in there, we just kind of still can't believe of how good of shape it is. So it's encouraging, I think, every time we go over there. But again, if anybody wants to go over, I think now John and Barry have a key, so you can either get a hold of one of us at City Hall to get a key or go over, or get a hold of John and tour it. So.
I still think we're putting money down a rat hole. I have been in that building many, many, many times over the years. I've been there for weddings of my own family. I know the building well. It's old, it's tired. Secondly, I don't think it's city function to create and promote party space for rent. We have citizens of Perry that are doing that for a living. And I don't think it's our place to be competitive to them. That's not our job. There's
And-
quite a few places.
For graduation.
We've also talked a lot about some of the programming that we could do there. So we've talked about the possibility of maybe Zumba happening there or some other fitness classes, things like that. So
I'm not saying that there are not things that can happen there.
Mhm.
I don't think you will ever break even. I don't think it's ever going to cover the cost of maintenance and upkeep that it's going to cost the city of Perry. Plus, I'll say it again, it's putting us in competition with our residents who are running those sorts of businesses to make a living. I don't think that's right.
Okay.
I don't think we have any business doing that.
Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Sorry, give me a second. Walling,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Schott,
No.
Klein. Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. Resolution approving tax abatement applications for residential construction completed or to be completed in 2021 in Perry, Iowa. The purpose of the tax abatement program is to promote new residential construction and renovation in the city of Perry by reducing the amount of property tax homeowners pay on new construction, rehabilitation, and or major improvements. Citizens wanting to make those improvements must apply to the city council for tax abatement and be approved by resolution. Once approved, the council applications are submitted to the Dallas County Assessor for review for tax exemption. A list of current applicants was included with the packet. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion, we pass resolution approving tax abatement applications for residential construction completed or to be completed in 2021 in Perry, Iowa.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
I'm sorry.
this was just one late application we got.
Any further discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Berglund,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein. Yes.
Thank you. Next item under new business, resolution approving the creation of the City of Perry Compliance Volunteer Program. City staff is continuously looking for ways to improve code compliance and removal of nuisances while being desirous of finding cost-effective and proactive methods of code enforcement and nuisance abatement. This resolution would create the City of Perry Compliance Volunteer Program, which would provide compliance assistance for those less able to act on their own and unable to afford or find help by recruiting volunteers to assist with the need. Individuals in need would be required to complete an assistance form, and volunteers would too need to complete an intake form. The program would help keep the community clear of dangerous and or bothersome conditions while assisting the City of Perry with bringing and keeping properties into compliance with city ordinances at no added cost to the community. The Community and Economic Development Director and Compliance Officer will oversee the program. Motion, please.
I make a motion that we pass a resolution approving the creation of the City of Perry volunteer. Wonderful program, Daniel. I'm happy to hear that. I'm really happy to be presenting this today. This actually is something I started
working on back when I was doing code enforcement in Spearfish, South Dakota. Not every person that's a violator is necessarily lazy or malicious. Sometimes they really just can't do it, and throwing the book at them as your first, instinct just feels wrong. So, to that end, I tried to find what other communities were doing to try to, add a sort of helping hand initially. And this is ultimately the end results. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions on anything about it. I've been working on it for a few months, so if there are any.
So this would recruit, let me just make sure I understand, this would recruit volunteers to help citizens who are not either financially or physically able to come into compliance. This would help them come into compliance.
That's correct. City would have sort of that Rolodex of volunteers, and we would contact nearby people to go and help out where there are problems.
It's not like an ongoing maintenance program. It's like they're out of compliance. And volunteers out there clean it up.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, I know that the school district has offers silver cord hours. I don't know if everybody's familiar with what those are. Basically community service hours. You get a silver cord at graduation. So this might be something you would want to contact the school with. I think that there are a number of kids who want the silver cord, and this would give them an opportunity to earn hours that everybody benefits from, themselves, the community, individual people. So I would, if I was you, I might want to contact counselors or somebody at the high school. I think there probably could be some buy-in up there. So just a suggestion.
No, I absolutely, if this is approved, I'll certainly do that.
So is it pretty successful? Spearfish when you did it up there?
So the programs I plagiarized were pretty successful. We were kind of at the last step to bring this to council when I was offered a job here.
Okay.
So I wasn't there for the rollout, but I did all the heavy lifting.
Okay. Understand. All right. Any other discussion? Sounds like a good way to help our neighbors. Thank you, Daniel. There's no further discussion. Call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Resolution approving a professional services agreement for the local street wetland project. Bolton and Mink have submitted a professional services agreement for the Iowa Street wetland project. This agreement would provide services for the project with a scope of work to include topographic survey, boundary survey, preliminary and final design plan preparation, wetland delineation, geotechnic investigation, SRF sponsored project coordination, and bidding services. The professional services agreement would be for a cost not to exceed $110,730 without prior approval for the 2022 Bolton and Mink rate schedule. Need a motion, please?
I move we approve the resolution approving a professional services agreement for the Iowa Street wetland project.
Discussion.
So hopefully we find out about that grant application we put in the last meeting fairly soon this spring. But we're hoping to be able to start construction this year yet. So Bolton and Mink needs to go ahead and get started on design. No matter what, depending on that grant, no matter what, those sponsored project dollars are there to cover the cost of the project. So the project is funded. That water quality initiative grant would just be supplemental funding so that we could use sponsored project money in other areas in addition to. So either way, the project is going to be moving forward. So you get going on design.
Is this design going to include the walkway through that wetland so the kids can see all of that stuff and that's growing in there?
I'm not sure that SRF will fund that portion. But I think we'll probably be going for a REAP grant for maybe some of that trail work and some of the pedestrian amenities.
That'd be fun for
Yeah.
people walking around.
Yep. And we've also been talking about possibly harvesting some of the ash trees that we have to take out and using that for either a natural playscape or maybe kind of a timber frame type shelter house out there. So again, kind of a neat, sustainable way to make lemonade out of lemons. So.
Any further discussion on this project? If not, call the roll, please.
Height,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Berglund.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, approval of a 3-year service agreement with MediaCom Business for Violet Hill Cemetery phone services. This agreement would be to provide better call quality for the phone at the Violet Hill Cemetery at a reduced rate than currently is being spent with Windstream. The cemetery would benefit from the agreement not only fiscally, but with the ability to make and receive calls with a higher call quality than the current provider provides. Motion, please.
I move that we approve service agreement with Business for Cemetery Phone Service.
I would second that.
Discussion.
I think this is going to be very important to Liz as she endeavors on her new program that she's definitely going to need high quality voice services. So absolutely.
And I don't know if Liz wants to talk about it, but Liz did a whole analysis of all of our Windstream, MediaCom, Minburn Communications, and found areas for improvement. So this was one of them. But hopefully Minburn can keep expanding and get us more service elsewhere because they do very good.
And we checked with them, and hopefully in the 2 to 3 year window, they'll be able to pick up cemetery and some of the, like the rec center and some of the places. So they're expanding, so we'll keep watching. But yeah, this actually will save about $500 a year. And Richie has had issues with the phone out there for, I know Paula dealt with it, I think Susie's dealt with it. It's just poor connection in line, and Windstream. Yeah, CenturyLink, they weren't doing anything to improve that line, so it's a completely different line because it'll be through MediaCom. So you should be able to get some better call quality. It won't sound like he's in a tunnel or there's rain in the background.
And it'll save money.
And it'll save, yes, it'll save money.
Thank you, Liz, for your work on this and other projects that you kind of helped move us forward with. Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling.
Yes.
Berglund.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Having no further business before us, we adjourn at 6:48 PM. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, yes, we did. Yes, we did.